When I first became a Christian, it was pretty obvious that I was on fire for the Lord. I tried to evangelize to pretty much everybody that I knew and encountered. I was reading the Bible as much as I could. I was going to church. I was trying to do all the right things. The thing is that didn't necessarily last. Like, it's not that I didn't love God as much as before, but those feelings, that on fireness that I was experiencing, dissipated. The scary thing was when I looked at Christian culture in general, especially on social media and YouTube, there's so much emphasis put on the feelings, experiencing God, experiencing the Holy Spirit, being on fire for God. God, bring your fire down. And yet it felt like, man, like, what's going on? Like, I was there. I was in that space where I was on fire, sharing the gospel, doing all this stuff. Like, it was so easy. It felt so real and natural and overflowing. Like, I didn't have to force anything. And yet now, oh boy, like, I feel like I'm forcing everything. Like, at that stage in my life, coming down from that on fire, I was questioning, wait a minute, does this mean I'm even a Christian? And this is kind of how it goes. Like, we're on fire for the Lord. We're experiencing all these like really big emotions and passion, and it's just amazing. Life happens, and this could look like maybe sin in your life or trials, or you're honestly just tired. And little by little, or maybe all at once, that fire seems to dissipate. That blazing, burning wildfire that was consuming everything that it touches now is kind of more like a dwindling campfire. This is what happened to me because I was on fire. I was so excited. I was so passionate. And yet when that kind of dissipated a little bit, I was panicked and I was stuck in doubt, questioning my own salvation. Like, am I even a Christian? I had experienced trials. I experienced, secret sin that I was battling with, and it was causing me to feel like, okay, wait a minute, man, am I even a Christian right now? Like, I'm seeing all these people on social media and even the people that I'm interacting with, and they seem passionate, they seem excited, they seem on fire. Like, what happened to me? How did I lose that? I want it back. I want to feel that way again, because right now I'm just kind of slogging along. It's hard to read, open my Bible. It's hard to pray. Like, I feel like I'm going through some tough stuff. I just want to feel the lightness and energy and passion that I did a while ago. So what do we do about it? Well, we engage in some kind of experience, or we work harder. So in order to facilitate these feelings to come back, to get on fire for God again, we try to engage in some kind of experience, like a worship night or a conference or something like that, because, hey, this is going to light my fire again. And, they sing songs about it, light my fire and send the fire down. And then, that happens and you go away and you're so excited again. And you're like, man, I rediscovered it. I found it again. Like, I'm on fire again. Yes. Hallelujah. Thank goodness I don't have to deal with this stuff anymore, because that was hell. But unfortunately, at least in my experience, even after something like that happens, and I've been there, you go to the conference, you go to the worship night, and you feel like, okay, I'm going to confess all this stuff and I'm going to, get rid of this. Okay, now I'm on fire for God again. But then what happens? Monday hits, Wednesday hits, and sin, trials, and you're just tired. And you're not really that on fire for God right now. And then the doubt and panic comes in because you're like, man, my relationship with God is kind of faltering. And you know what happens, unfortunately, is that the panic and doubt isn't always there. It actually can lead to, when you go through the cycle enough times, depending on your personality, is you might just be burnt out. You're kind of tired. You're not even really trying to get back to the feelings anymore. You're just okay with essentially being numb, because that's what it feels like. You're striving so hard after feeling those feelings towards God and feelings towards your faith and about yourself, and you're not really feeling it anymore. So you just kind of experience the stuff, and instead of doubt and panic, really, you just feel kind of burnt out. You're tired. You're apathetic. And a lot of people get to this place in their faith. And I don't think this is the answer either, because the title of this video is trying to get on fire for God is a trap. And I really do believe that, because essentially what this sets up is an emotional, relational treadmill and roller coaster. So the treadmill aspect is that you're always kind of walking towards this goal, this destination of maintaining this fire for God, because this is the optimal place. This is what we're told, be on fire for God. And it's a lot of work. It's essentially like a rat race. It's it essentially feels like it's on our own effort to coordinate enough of these experiences and have enough, powerful moments with God that we still feel good and we still feel passionate. And if that's not happening, then, somehow we got to just, have more experiences and work harder and do more good stuff. And then maybe I'll feel the same way I did like 6 months ago. It's a treadmill. And then the roller coaster aspect. Oh, I know about this because when I was younger, right, when I became a Christian, there were moments when I was on fire for God. But then, trials and sin would come up and then I would question things. And it was essentially a tumultuous relationship. I equate it to a teen dating relationship. One day you're lovey-dovey and you're like, man, I'm going to marry this person. And this is like the greatest thing ever. And oh my goodness. And then the next day you're kind of like a little bit cold, or maybe, your little dating high school partner is like, a little bit cold to you. And you're like, man, they hate me. It's so insecure, right? It's so insecure. And I just think that this kind of structure of our faith breeds insecurity. It breeds an insecure relationship with God because it's all about feelings. It's all about passion. And I do believe that if we're following this, it is a trap. I want you to think about the difference between a wildfire and a tree, a wildfire and a tree. When we're looking for, when we're trying to get on fire for God, right? And I want to just make this clarification. There's nothing wrong with being on fire for God if that's the terms that you want to use, right? You're excited, you're passionate, you're evangelizing. I don't think that should end. People talk about, is there a honeymoon phase with God? And yes, and kind of no. It's like, yes, in the sense that, you don't necessarily get those feelings back that you had initially when you became a Christian, right? Like those are so unique. You're just discovering so many new things. It's very similar to the honeymoon phase in a relationship, a human relationship. But then the other element is just as there shouldn't necessarily be a honeymoon phase in your marriage, is that you should still be passionate about that person. You should still be excited about that person. It shouldn't just be boring monotonous duty because, we're married, or in the case of our relationship with God, I'm a follower of God, so that's kind of just where I'm at. But no, there should still be passion there. So it's a yes and no question. But sorry, I got distracted. When you're in this phase, you're on fire for God, you're like a wildfire. You're burning down everything in sight. You're sharing the gospel. You're reading everything. You're watching everything. And it's so exciting. But you're burning up a lot of fuel. And there are some people, I'm totally willing to admit that this isn't necessarily a hard and fast fact, because there's some people that just seems like they're going, hard and they're on fire in this wildfire forever, right? Ray Comfort is one of those guys that it seems like he just evangelizes to everybody. If you're not familiar with him, watch his videos on YouTube. They're so helpful in how to share the gospel with people. But the guy is on fire. He's just perpetually on fire. The thing that I want to qualify here is that if that being on fire is not necessarily just about, your relationship with God and the security you have in Him, but it is actually kind of just like a temporary passionate feeling based on experiences. If that's the case, then you're going to burn up all that experiential emotional fuel. Right? If your on fireness is just fueled by, the experiences, the worship conferences, whatever, like those kind of things, that fuel is going to be used up. And just like a wildfire, eventually, once it has used up all the fuel, it's going to go out. So like I said, there's nothing wrong with actually being on fire for the Lord. And if that's the terminology you want to use, that's totally okay. But when we're trying to get back to it, using experiences, emotionalism, trying to have those things build up that on fireness is some sort of pedestal of Christianity, I think we're falling into a trap. So what's the distinction between the wildfire and the tree? Well, Psalm 1 talks about this tree that's planted by the stream of water, because the wildfire, it consumed everything that it encountered and burned up all the fuel. But the tree, by the stream of water, what's a stream? A stream is a flowing stream of water. So what does that mean? It's not going to end. There's always supply. There's always nutrients for the tree. And the tree is sturdy. Its roots are going deep. Okay, that's my terrible tree and the stream, but you understand what I'm saying. We want a relationship with God that's not just built on passion, because I think that's something that People really emphasize, and I don't want to downplay the beauty of passion. God made us people that feel emotions, and that is a beautiful thing. But when we're trying to conjure that, or we see that as the pure sign of our devotion to God or relationship with God, it's like the only signal of how we're doing, we're in trouble. I think about my wife. I love being married to my wife. She's amazing. She's so awesome. Like, I'm so passionate and excited about her. But on a given day, my emotions might not be totally present with that reality, right? I'm focused on work. I'm focused on other things. So the emotions won't necessarily be a 10 out of 10 every day. And, for a lot of people that are young couples, and I think even for us, that was something tough to, believe. Like, wait a minute. No. Like, we'll always be like a 10 out of 10. Like, this person needs to take up every moment of every day. And like, in a lot of ways, like, I'm only been married 2 years. I still feel a lot of that. But I have heard from older couples as well, like, you go from this place of kind of a little bit more of like an insecure relationship where it's just like more hot and cold and fire and ice and all this kind of thing into steady stability. And it doesn't mean the passion is gone. It just means the priorities and the focus is different. Because the thing in marriage that I think really applies to a relationship with God that we haven't really talked about is that even when you're not experiencing those feelings of big passion and excitement and just like doing all that stuff, right? Well, I still show up and empty the dishwasher. Like, I still make the bed. Like, I'm still going to go to work and bring home, money so then my wife can eat, and so our relationship and our physical needs can be met. Just because the fire isn't necessarily as bright as it once was at one time, or maybe as it will be, that doesn't change what I do or my orientation to my wife. Just like it doesn't change my relationship with God or my orientation to God or what I do. I really hope I'm communicating this in a good way, because I really want you to catch what I'm saying here. Like, when we talk about being on fire for God and this emotional treadmill or roller coaster, I just think Jesus has direct words for us for this. Come to me, all who labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and lowly in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light. Remember this like panic and doubt that we experience because we're like questioning like, where'd the fire go? And there might actually be real factors that you need to address, right? And we've talked about that in previous videos. Sin, maybe there's sin issues, secret sin issues that you need to confess to God. Like, there might actually be real reasons why you're not really feeling super on fire for right now. But there's also times where it's just like, okay, like life goes on and you're feeling not as on fire. And I don't think that means that you need to panic or you need to get back on the treadmill and just trying to encounter those experiences and do that stuff again. And maybe I'll feel better and maybe okay, my yoke is easy and my burden is light. Come to me and rest. Find rest for your souls. You can experience God and just be present with him and not have an expectation of how you're going to feel about it and what this is going to do and all this kind of stuff. It's like, no, my encouragement to you, and this is the encouragement I really want myself to embody, is not just trying to find that next high, that next hit of dopamine, that next, spark that's going to light everything. And okay, now I'm going to really go hard for the Lord. But it's in those quiet moments, those secure moments. What am I doing? Am I working hardly for the Lord? Am I being faithful in the areas that I can be faithful? And am I honestly just resting in his grace because his grace is sufficient for me? Or am I clamoring at that next moment of feeling on fire so then I feel secure? And again, you're feeding that insecure relationship. Friend, God has got you. Like, he doesn't need you to be all this in order to love you. It's by his grace. It's by his grace. And I would love for you to internalize that today. I would love for you to believe that today, that in those seasons where you do feel on fire for God, that's amazing. Like, go for it. Like, that's amazing. But don't see it as just like, okay, I feel on fire for God now. Now I'm going to do the things that I should have been doing anyway. But instead, just see it as a blessing and a lightness. And on those days that you don't feel on fire for God, wake up and empty the dishwasher anyway. Like, wake up and do what you need to do anyway, because you are that tree that's planted by the streams of water. And even though it doesn't feel like a wildfire, it doesn't feel like that excitement and that you're burning up everything in sight, it's still good. It's still really, really good. Thank you for watching this video. Welcome to this new era of Daily Disciple, where it's just me sitting, teaching, talking, and us learning together, being raw and authentic about what's going on in our faith. So if that encourages you, if that inspires you, if that's something you want to be a part of, subscribe, because I'm putting out new videos all the time. Until next time, keep following Jesus.